See, what struck me when I read the principles of Sahaj Marg, in one of the definitions, Chariji Maharaj said that a disciple is one who is disciplined. So, in one of the interactions with him, I said, I want to quit my material life and be with you full time. He got extremely annoyed and angry. He said, are you dumb? Are you mad? Has this what I taught you? So, whenever I take corporate sessions, when people ask what experience you have, I said, what experience can you have better than 20 failures and financial failures at that? When I was born in this world, I had no dress on me. What else can I lose? Many times Chariji used to jokingly say, just because you're sitting next to me, don't think you have made it. Each master for me has continued to take Sahaj Marg, Heartfulness into dimensions which are normally not fathomable to us.
Woof woof. Welcome to KANHACAST. Today I'm speaking to S.Prakash, who is an author and business advisor. He is also a Heartfulness volunteer who has served as secretary to both Chariji and Daaji and has a wealth of experience with both of them. So namaste, Brother Prakash. It's
Namaste, Rudy bhai.
Such a joy and honor to have you here in Kana Studio, and thank you for taking the time out. I know you're on a rush visit. You have a flight in the evening. So I really appreciate that you took the time out to come and talk with us. So firstly, I'd like to ask you, you have been at Manapakam for so long. With Chariji, we were also used to seeing you. And now you come to Kana. What is the difference? What is the comparison?
See, it's normally Chariji used to say it's unfair to compare two periods.
Sure.
And it's like comparing Shahjahanpur with Manapakam or Fatehgarh with Shahjahanpur for that matter. Each master for me has continued to take Sahaj Marg, Heartfulness into dimensions which are normally not fathomable to us. The grandeur of Manapakam when it got built still is in my eyes. I was part of the team which initially was bringing that Babuji 100th year stuff out, which got inaugurated in 1999. And it looked, wow, something cannot get bigger than this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you come to Kana, Manapakam or Shahjahanpur, looks dwarfed in size compared to what masters can really do and how their visions unfold. And recently Daaji has been telling us, I want to create Kana in each state of India. 2,000 acres and this kind of work. It's really amazing, mind-blowing. And it is still continuing to unfold. I don't think Kana is fully grown yet. It's compared to a just born baby in 2016, it's a 5-6-year-old baby running around, very beautiful, but the youth is yet to come and still have a long way to go.
So I think it's safe to say we should never think that this is the biggest it can get. Because as you rightly mentioned, in Manapakam, my first visit in 96, I thought it was huge. It was, but the parameters keep shifting.
Yeah.
So when did you actually get involved? You've been so, you said that the 100-year, Babuji's 100 years, you were very involved in. And now we are in the 125th year
of Babuji Maharaj.
Of Babuji Maharaj's birth anniversary. So when did you exactly get involved with mission work like that?
See, you actually never know when you get involved, but you got involved. When the eyes locked with the old man in 93 first. Wow. I joined the mission in 92. I still remember that when I started visiting Manapakam in the middle of 93, somehow I wanted to meet this man and Chariji Maharaj and be with him, and never happened for quite some time. And finally one day I decided I'm going to chase him come what may. Younger I would rather say. Took my scooter and followed him, and in one of the signals I stopped behind his car. He looked and turned, looked into my eyes and he said, who are you?
Well, at a traffic signal.
Yeah.
This is very cinematic. I mean, the filmmaker...
It's really cinematic. The diary, which I still remember, 21st November 1993, Sunday, runs over about 8 pages in my book.
Wow.
And he had seen me through the rear mirror, and he was asking, who is this boy following me? I said, Namaste Master, my name is Prakash. By the time the signal turned green, he turned, the car went, but I kept chasing him. But I think the hook was laid then.
Wow.
That one look into my eyes and something said, I have to be with him. And when I went home, all he did was welcome to the extended family. I didn't know what it meant then. Subsequent years unfolded, showed me that that day marked my entry into the work of the mission full time. There are official roles, there are unofficial roles. We all roll up our sleeves and do so many work. The official role started unfolding later when he initially made me a AMC member in Chennai. Then one happened after another.
Amazing, amazing. So, was there was there a search within before that? How did you come across heartfulness? Were you always interested in a spiritual sort of path? Did you question?
In a way, yes, because having been born into a Tamil Brahmin, Tam Brahma as we are called,
Yes.
family, initial days were spent in highly religious practices.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a very staunch bhakta of Lord Shiva and Hanuman, my two favorite lords.
Wow.
And I've always seen Lord Shiva only in a meditative posture. So when I was young, I don't know, I used to put his statue there, switch off the lights and just sit. I really don't know what to do. And then one practice took to another. Around 87, 88, I thought religion is not my way, and I stopped many of the religious practices much to the dissatisfaction of my parents. But they didn't have a choice because youthful rebellion and
Of course.
all that stuff.
Of course.
Strangely, in 87 is when my first exposure to Sahaj Marg actually happened then. I, being part of an organization, was in charge of effecting sales of computer and related equipment. And I happened to meet a business owner who was buying our equipment. And in the final decision-making call, I was seated with him, like the way you are seated, I was here, he was there. And behind him, there were 3 photographs. 2 photographs of some gods, goddesses and all that. And there was a 3rd photograph of a man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who it was. I asked him who it is. He said he's my guru and left it at that. I never pushed and he never asked me. Later I found out he was a prefect of the mission. He continues to be a preceptor. I know him well. But he never told me what it was. I don't know why. And a year later, I joined a martial arts practice. It's a Japanese martial arts called Shorinji Kempo. I learned for about 4 years. The person who taught me happened to be a preceptor.
Wow.
But unfortunately or whatever, when I used to go to the dojo, the place of practice, where we used to learn the fights and all that, which is 3 times a week. It used to be between 5 and 6:30 in the morning, and it was in a place called Egmore. I used to live in a place called Thiruvanmiyur in Chennai. And at the end of the session, he used to make us sit. And he will sit in front and tell us to repeat a few lines, which I later learned was the Sahaj Marg prayer.
Wow.
Without knowing anything for 3 years, I had been reciting it. And in between, he used to ask me to drop him on, because I was going back and Egmore to Thiruvanmiyur. On the way was Alwarpet, where Chariji used to live. And the end of the road, Shri Ram North Street, was Glenmore, which is where Chariji used to come and meet people. And he used to make me drop him there, and then he will say, turn back and go. I always felt curious. Why is he asking me? I said, where do you want to go? He said, I have to go further. I said, I'll drop you. They said, no, you don't follow me. He'll make me drop me there. And one day I got suspicious after a few weeks of dropping. After he went, I slowly followed him in the bike, like slowly, without making noise. And I found him entering a home. Later I realized it was Gayatri.
Wow.
I initially got suspicious. Maybe he had a girlfriend. You went somewhere. Next day I asked him, you went somewhere, why don't you take me there? He said, no, he's my yoga guru. Normally in yoga guru means someone who teaches you asana, pranayama, or
Hatha yoga,
slokas or whatever. I didn't push later. And I also used to find that many people used to come and meet him in his home, and he used to go with them, lock himself in a room. Later I realized he was giving them sitting. For whatever reason, he never spoke about Sahaj Marg to us. Subsequently, in 92, one of my subordinates or colleagues, you want to call, who was already practicing Sahaj Marg, heartfulness, and he used to talk to me about how wonderful the system is. I normally don't jump into anything without seeing through a bit of a distance. So he used to give me PSM, or Principles of Sahaj Marg, Volume 1, 2, 3. We were both bachelors, nothing else to do in the evening, no TV, no mobile, no internet. This was in 92. So we used to sit every day, one chapter, I used to ask him questions. He used to answer whatever he knew. After 4 or 5 months, I realized this is the path. My questions were all answered and I was ready to begin. And he took me, or rather he introduced me to a prefect then. I, of course, had a few hilarious interactions before I got the sitting with him. He was actually 4 or 5 people sitting ahead of me, like a clinic. And he was asking each one, why do you want to start meditation? And each one gave an answer. He said, no, I'm not satisfied. He literally was...
So they failed the job interview.
it was. And being a salesman, I said, I cannot fail this interview. So I already cooked up my one-liners. The moment I came next to him, I said, he spoke in Tamil, said, Vardhan Mama, Mama means uncle, said, so-and-so send me, I have come to take sitting. He looked, typically he looked at me and said, okay, we'll start. When do you want to come? Then one of the Wednesdays we fixed, which was on 2nd November 92, and that's how my journey started. First 6 months, I was a very tough customer to him. I used to take sittings, write my diaries right from day one. I refused to visit the ashram. So the ashram for me was one hell of a distance. Manapakam was...
one end of Chennai. Yeah.
It was outside Chennai those days. Now it's part of Chennai. Those days it was outside Chennai. No way. I mean, 1.5 hours on a Sunday morning, the only time bachelors sleep, impossible. I said, no, I won't come. He goaded and pushed and pushed and pushed. And finally, after about 6 months, June 93, I made my first visit to Manapakam ashram. After that, I never missed being on a Sunday in any ashram wherever I travel. And then I started seeing the old man. And because it was always crowded and Manapakam was the headquarters then, it was the old meditation hall, as you might know. Smaller one, about 800 people can sit.
Yes.
By the time, however early I went, I always used to find a place somewhere at the back only, the nurse space. Some point of time, the call came that I have to meet and be with him, or at least get to know him. I found that 1 or 2 of my friends who had joined used to come and boast with me. I met him, I had tea with him, and I used to get mine. I have to, as a salesman, the stuff said I have to get closer to him. Forced my way. On one day, I followed him on his way back. Sunday evening, normally used to go back from Manapakam to Gayatri. Vijayaraghavan Mama used to drive him on that old ambassador car. I still remember the number, TMR 3756.
Oh, you saw it so much driving behind it.
Not only that, after that car was his official car,
Yes,
even now that car exists for information.
Wow.
He gave it to one preceptor in Chennai who is still maintaining it in memory of Chariji Maharaj.
That's so beautiful.
So I forced myself, and after that I haven't spent a day in Chennai without being with him. For 21 years, you can say.
Amazing. Now, one of the things that having listened to you, because you've conducted so many programs for Heartfulness, for Sahaj Marg within the mission, one thing is your dedication to the practice as is prescribed. And you mentioned right from the beginning that was the case. You did not deviate. How important do you think that has been in keeping you on the path?
See, what struck me when I read the principles of Sahaj Marg, in one of the definitions, Chariji Maharaj said that a disciple is one who is disciplined. And if you're not ready to be disciplined, don't come. He didn't say it so. But normally, right from my younger days, thanks to the Brahminical, the way of bringing up, it had been driven into the head as a psyche. Even now, I am like that. If you're told, you have to follow. If you're not ready to follow, tell them upfront and go. It's okay. But if you jump in, stay the course. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business or it's employment or whatever, stay committed. These are words which always resonate with me, and that includes practice as well. I am a person who always ensures when it comes to anything that improves me to dot the I's and cross the T's. So for me, practice became... one Chariji Maharaj very clearly told all of us, he once asked Babaji Maharaj, why do I have to meditate? He said, because I tell you so. Very simple. The same way. They tell us because it's good for us. If I have to understand the meaning of everything before I follow, I don't think I can follow anything in life. For example, I go to a doctor, he gives me medicine. I don't know what the chemical will do to me. I trust him. When I open my mouth in front of a dentist, I open because he knows how to pull the tooth or fix the tooth. Likewise with the Guru. That got driven inside me quite well before I got into the system. Because I had ensured I read sufficient literature to be satisfied that this is the right path.
Wow. So once you were ready, you jumped in. It's not like you were.
That's always the case
your-
normally in my life. Whatever I think through before jumping in.
So your
And once
faith
I
is.
jump in, I stay the course.
Wow.
Come what may.
Wow. A lot of people with practice, they have, they don't practice as prescribed because the demands of time, the demands of their job. You've led a very full corporate life also. You've been involved with corporate trainings and things like that. Has it ever been a conflict in your life?
Not at all. In fact, there is a very interesting episode I need to share with you, that when I met the old man first, that's when I decided that the corporate life where I was working for someone is coming in the way of my goal.
Mm-hmm.
Then I decided that I need to do something on my own which will give me sufficient time to pursue my fundamental goal, which is the evolution to the highest, which I am convinced that this system has to offer. Hence, I quit a corporate job, which you cannot imagine the kind of salary I earned, the kind of comforts I had, flying all the places, staying in 5-star luxury, to back on the street, back to my two-wheeler, like how I started my career in 83 first. All that I was ready to do because I understood this path would give me what I wanted. And hence, 2001 or 2, I had this conversation with Chariji Maharaj. I found that he was struggling with many of his work and he didn't have sufficient people who knew him, who are around him, to spend time with him. So in one of the interactions with him, I said, I want to quit my material life and be with you full time. He got extremely annoyed and angry. He said, are you dumb? Are you mad? This what I taught you. And he threw me literally out of the room. He said, get out. He always does that whenever he's angry. I went off. The next day I again went back. And now what do you want? I said, no, I thought through, I want to sit and talk to you. I said, I don't know how many lives I have spent to be here in this birth. You have been telling the soul evolves over millions of lives. I found a guru, it's you. I don't have any doubt. I think you don't have a doubt. And humorous, we have a lot of this. We speak in Tanjore Tamil, which is his mother tongue, Tamil, the variant of Tanjore Tamil. And I come from Tanjore, birthplace. So I said, I see that you struggle a lot to do a lot of things and you are not telling the world you need help. I think I can manage. He said, I don't trust you. And then I showed him some savings, cooked up a bit. He said, I have so much money, I can manage to be with you. Which actually was not fully a fact. Then he moved, he got moved. I said, I want to stay with you for life because you are already old. 2002, he was already 75. So you're only getting older, you need all the help you can. Don't worry, I'll manage. And then he didn't believe. I called my wife. She also told him, Master, we'll manage. Don't worry. We had a daughter. He said, no, don't worry, we'll manage. Then I come on board. And this was the age of 39.
Wow.
I came full time. But strange things happen in Sahaj Marg. He said, I don't want you to be like this. I don't want the world to think you are a person who has run away. And something popped up. I was already doing consulting work. And as if doors started opening by itself. And the doors started opening conveniently. On days in which I want to go, they were ready to call me and pay me. What I could earn in a month, I could earn in 2 days' time.
Wow.
And that was sufficient. I didn't have great material ambitions, but I had huge aspirations in terms of following what the masters would do and living the way in which they would want us to live. Once that confidence is there, I think, I used to tell in all my corporate sessions, you had to be like a phoenix bird. Any number of times you burn, you should be able to rise up. If you are a man worth enough, when I was born in this world, I had no dress on me. What else can I lose? And in business, I have lost heavily, even after I started my business, I lost heavily. Chariji Maharaj has seen me through that. Not financially though, but giving me the wisdom and support and confidence that don't worry, things will pass. And they did pass. So whenever I take corporate sessions, when people ask what experience you have, I said, what experience can you have better than 20 failures and financial failures at that and bouncing back. So if you have financial failure, I can teach you how to get. You have a life failure, I can teach you how to get out of that. That is what hooked me onto the system. And if I am clear on my goal, my priorities realign to Rudy Bhai to help me to live my life. And I have seen that the masters have lived a perfect life of integrating the two extremes, the apparent two extremes. So though there is no contradiction between material and spiritual life, but I found a way to integrate it at a quite young age. And by nature, I have no regrets in life. Whatever I do, I've done. I can't. I always used to funnily tell my life, there's no rewind button in life.
Mm.
I can keep licking my wound, I can't change the past. This is what I learned, and I think I'm quite happy with whatever decisions we have taken all along. My wife has been a very good cooperative, collaborative partner in my life that way.
Yes, because these decisions one wouldn't be able to take without the support of...
She has been a huge moral
Mm.
support all the way, moral support all the way throughout.
So how important do you think it is that both of you are on the same spiritual path? Because...
Fortunately for us, I'm sure you would know how we got exposed to each other. Way back in July 94, she had come to meet Chariji from Bangalore. She had joined the mission before I had done. She has joined in 91. I joined in 92. And when she came, she just like that came. She had no idea what's going to happen. Neither did I. And we had a beautiful first exposure when I used to man the cottage and the meetings with him and all that. I was standing there. She came and asked me, I want to see Master. I said, he's tired. He won't see anybody. She got really annoyed, angry. Who is this idiot standing there? Went off. This was on 30th July 1994. 31st July was a Sunday. After satsang, she went to meet Chariji Maharaj. And somebody who was standing next to her said, Master, she is of a marriageable age. He just looked at her and apparently, which I came to know later, apparently sent a word, S.Prakash to come. I went in, he didn't ask anything. He said, you are marrying him, your wedding is fixed for Basant.
Wow.
That's all.
Wow.
Absolutely no negotiation, no discussion. We just turned and looked at each other.
No room for maneuver at all.
No, nothing. I mean, you are fixed. He is looking at you. He's saying, he just said your marriage is fixed. Later, he told me the psyche is that I knew that one of you would have escaped had I not fixed you that day.
Wow.
Then I later realized that their parents were not fully into Sahaj Marg then. They were not really keen on their daughter getting married in the Sahaj Marg way. Things worked out well, and things... she also stepped in a big way in doing spiritual service work, and she used to handle for more than 10 years all the weddings in the mission. She helped solemnize more than 1,000 weddings.
Absolutely.
Maybe you're one of the victims or a beneficiary, I don't know. Everyone
yes, for sure. For sure. There's so many people that...
So it made it easy. So even at home, we always used to speak about the work of the mission and how to ensure we do it better. So there's no conflict per se.
So was there a moment's hesitation on either side when Chariji said, okay, you guys are getting married? Or it was like he said it, it's done?
In terms of hesitation, there was no hesitation at all. But getting it to happen was a tough ask. It was such a tough ask that, I don't know, I can go on record to say that, but I hijacked her out of her home.
Oh, okay.
Because her parents had decided that this is not going to be the boy. Not because they didn't like me, but they didn't want the Sahaj Marg path. One day he called me and said, go and bring her. So she came to Chennai following. All she asked is, I told her over phone, no mobile, no nothing. She asked me, I'm very sure he said it. I said, I'm calling right from Gayatri. He asked me to speak to you. He asked me to tell you this. I said, okay. He fixed a date for the wedding, which is just 2 weeks from that date. And when he told this, Sulochana Mami asked Chariji Maharaj, why are you pushing them? So you don't know. If I don't make it happen now, most probably she'll get married elsewhere. And I don't want that to happen. These people are meant to be together.
Wow.
And the wedding was fixed and it happened in Manapakam. He personally called so many people all over India saying, I'm performing a wedding in Manapakam, I want you to come.
How beautiful.
He ensured that the hall was overflowing that day. The old meditation hall. More than 1,200 people came on that day. And so he made it actually very easy. So looking back, it looks hilarious, but the kind of tensed moments we went through.
I can imagine.
Not knowing what they would do, whether they would take it easily or there would be a revolt or everything fell in place.
After the marriage, did they come around? Did the family come around?
On the day of marriage itself, it happened. I mean, something strange. I mean, let me go on record sharing it. It's like down memory lane. 10th of December, Saturday evening, 7 o'clock, we are sitting in Manapakam. We only two were there. In the front is a huge hall, you would remember. He looked through the window, looked at me and asked, what's happening? I told him, Master, it looks none of them will come. The wedding is tomorrow morning. He just closed his eyes and then looked and said, don't worry, they'll be here tomorrow.
Wow.
Simultaneously, there was apparently a family meeting going on at that time in their home. And elders are all sitting and talking. And when he finished saying, within 5 minutes, they came to a consensus. Let the bygones be bygones. Our daughter is getting married. We have to go. And somehow they managed to travel overnight. The bus and train, all that. They all came for the next day.
Amazing.
They're all there.
Amazing.
The video is there. And we show it to people. It's really fun to watch them. They all don't know what happened the previous day. I mean,
that is amazing. That is amazing. Now, in your time with Chariji, you traveled so much with him as well. For a master, you had a sort of behind the scenes kind of access. It must be a very lonely life, even though you're meeting so many people, hundreds of people every day, but they are all different people. Your family can't travel with you everywhere.
Yeah.
How important is it to have someone like you who you can speak to in your own native tongue and things like that? Do you think that is a help?
He found, he had multiple channels and multiple people around him. It's not that I was the only one. But someone to speak his native language was always very easy for him. Even with people who speak Tamil, they may not understand what we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Hindi, you'll have 10 dialects, like that in Tamil, we have dialects. And certain cases, he used to develop code words for us. When he says a code word in Tamil, even if someone knows Tamil, they won't know what he is saying. That made it very easy for him, especially when he used to travel out of Tamil Nadu. It made it very easy for him to tell anything to me first. Because those normally won't understand Tamil. Because anybody else he speaks in Hindi or English, others will understand what he's saying. And he had a very knack of looking straight and his lip won't even move apparently, but yet he will say something. And you have to be tuned enough. And sometimes when he can't say, he will look at you and you have to understand and do what he wants you to do. It could be filling a glass with water or calling someone. You need to be tuned. That sort of awareness level that he raised in us was really amazing. It really helped a lot mutually. He also, for him, it was not always easy. Many times he used to say that people not always come for me. It's not their mistake, but they don't know what to seek in a master. They come for blessings, to touch his feet or to take a photo with him or to have lunch with him. But he can give something much, much more. They may not even understand, and used to feel a little bit sad, but that's how life is.
Also, no one would know as much as you how difficult it can be to do mission work also, because you have to, like you said to your future wife, you have to say no sometimes.
I didn't know she was my future wife.
And you were often in that role where you had to protect master in a way, if he was resting, you had to make sure that nobody disturbed him and things like that. Was it easy to do? Because here are people who are, you are interacting with as brothers and sisters outside. But when you're there serving the master, you have to take certain decisions which will not be popular.
It's the same as a corporate life, in the sense, Rudy bhai, you have to, when you're doing work, sometimes it's about how you package and present. Fortunately for me, I have gone through a soft skills leadership style kind of a training right from my younger days. I have been a soft skill trainer from 86, 87. I run coaching and consulting companies. So this is, when I hit you, if I make it easier for you to understand why I'm hitting you, you're not going to object. It's like, I saw a very interesting video last week, somebody had forwarded on WhatsApp, a pediatrician in UK, how he puts an injection to a kid. He plays with it for 2 minutes. And then, finally, and the kid doesn't even know it has been injected. And they show another baby where the doctor straight away takes and starts crying. So that navigational skills, if you develop when you are specifically close with the master, it makes it easy. It's all about interpersonal and communication skills to a great extent with the heart open. When he sleeps, it's not that I have to be next to him. I come out, talk to them, and just give them some update, understand what they have to say. And when he gets up, I prioritize and ensure that the people who have a need to meet. See, whether you like it or not, some people have unlimited access. And they tend to gobble up the space which is available physically.
Yeah, in film we say footage khana, that he's hogging the footage.
The same thing, like in talking, I can keep talking, but that's not the only point. So we need to find, and so I used to tell him, so in Tamil, in his ears, that so-and-so I think needs here. He'll just look. He'll think for a second and say, okay, call them. He'll say it in Tamil. And by the time when they come, they are prepped. So for them, it's a bonus even to see because they didn't expect to see.
Mm-hmm.
Normally on the outside, what I tend to do, I bring the expectation to zero. When they come in, and it's like infinity bonus. And they're quite happy. I didn't always manage to do it well, but to a great extent I managed. And many of those who served close, I also shared these inputs and skills. It made it easier for them also. We ourselves should not fall a trap. I have told many people who used to come to serve him in the cottage, think that today is the first day, think that today is the last day in the cottage. First day because then the excitement is there, I'm going to serve the master.
Yes.
Last day, knowing well, he will throw you out, and he has done it several times to many people, even to me. At least 4 or 5 times he had completely admonished me, say that you will not come back to see me, get lost. In as many words. After 2-3 days, things become, all right, when you go there, you look, I said, why did he come back? And you just stand there, he knows. I mean, a master is a master, If you think today is the first day, that excitement is there. I'm meeting my beloved today, my first date. And today is going to be my last date with her, which is also the first date. You will behave well. You're
Absolutely.
grounded. And you tend to take, there's always, I used to have, like a session for every induction training program for everyone who comes to cottage to serve, whether in kitchen or security volunteers or whatever. I also just ground them and also tell them, treat people with love and care. So even if they can't meet him, many times it's possible he's unwell, he's sleeping, he won't be able to meet. They have to go back and they may be having a flight to catch. Sometimes you used to call them the next day, say that, he was, after you left, he asked about you, which may be true. They'll feel good, okay, at least, things like that.
Also, there is a master has two aspects. One is the spiritual aspect of a master, and the other is the human aspect. And as someone who is has access to the master, you also see the human frailties, the difficulties of the body, the physical problems. Is that ever do you kind of is that ever a problem that you just start seeing the master as a human instead of a spiritual master? How did you maintain both these?
If I told you I didn't see the frailties, I'll be telling a lie. We tend to see it very often. I tend to see it with Daaji also. But it lasts momentary as compared to someone, it lasts for a long time. Immediately you have to ground yourself because many times I have held him, I have given the kind of service you can't even imagine at a physical level. That tends to make you look at him as a human, which is the biggest mistake you can ever make. Because you have access to the physical form doesn't mean, many times Chariji used to jokingly say, just because you're sitting next to me, don't think you have made it. Not me. I mean, he used to tell all the people.
Yes.
I'm gone tomorrow and it's like you are meeting someone in the airport. I am next to you in the flight for 1 hour. Doesn't make me the Prime Minister. You may be the PM. When you're off, you are still the PM. I am not. But in that 1 hour, both of us look to be the same. That I keep telling myself very often whenever I thought I was moving a little bit away. I did make those mistakes. Once in a while, I do make those mistakes even now. Let me be frank enough to admit. But I quickly recover and say that don't do it because that will be the beginning of the fall.
Absolutely. And I think in our system, we have recourse to the meditation every day.
Yeah.
So in meditation, you are meeting the spiritual form of the master.
More than meditation, I would have recourse in the prayer.
Absolutely.
I surrender and say, Daaji says, even that not knowingly the mistakes you have done, which includes the mistakes you would have done to the master. There are times he tells you to do something. For some reason, you are not able to do, or let me share if you have time. One famous conversation I had with Chariji Maharaj once. He asked me to do something. I told Master I will accept to do, but I don't agree to what you are saying. He laughed and then asked, what do you mean, Prakash? Said, for example, you tell me to take a weapon and prick someone or kill someone. I'll do it because you tell me so. But my conscience will not permit. Likewise, there are many times when they tell something, you may not actually do it.
True.
But you need to sort of go back and find a way out, because I have always found, including myself, when he gave decisions to implement upon myself, I resisted. Later I found it actually was for my good. Even now it happens. Almost on a weekly basis it happens. Because I happen to be secretary. There are times he will ask me to do something. I wonder, why is he doing? A split second I just say, no, sorry, this is not a thought you should maintain. Then it immediately dawns, and after 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, when it unfolds, you realize, wow, I mean, how did I miss this? Kind of a situation.
Absolutely. And you've also witnessed Daaji change from your friend Kamlesh.
You're my neighbor.
Your neighbor.
In Garden of Arts.
In Garden of Arts, absolutely. Your neighbor, your friend, your spiritual brother. You've seen him transition to your master. How easy is that?
In one way, I think both Chariji and Kamlesh Bhai, as he was called then, made it easier for me because way back in 2012, he made me as his secretary. This was his Chariji's birthday gift to Daaji for 28th September 2012.
Oh, you became Kamlesh Bhai's secretary.
I was appointed as secretary to president.
Mm-hmm.
But Chariji said that anyway I'm old, he is going to take over, you will be his secretary. And it became easier because he gave me a ringside view.
Mm-hmm.
All the frailties which others might see later, I got to see before, and it was easier for me. And I had one distinct disadvantage because on one hand, you have a full-fledged master in front of you. On the other room, in Manapakam, on this room, you have a person who is emerging into one, becoming one.
Wow.
And you move here, you see a different product, you see a different product here. The tendency is to compare.
Sure.
And that took a little bit of a time to adjust. And that time it took me to adjust was close to 2 to 3 months. And during the 2 to 3 months, surprisingly, let me go on record, his interaction with me was very disjointed. He will not even talk to me. He always felt that somehow I am not there to do his work. And when that shift happened, which was maybe in the beginning of 2013 or so, then he became very comfortable with me. A time when I've sat with him for hours together, he will be sitting, you would have seen the first left room, which was the earlier room of Chariji Maharaj, which became his room. He used to sit and work. Whenever I come in, he'll say, sit here, and he used to make coffee and give. And slowly the transition happened much before it had happened for others. For me, I think they were generous enough to do the transition while the transition was happening for others post Mahasamadhi of Chariji Maharaj. For me, it was sort of much more easier. I should be thankful to them for that, I would say.
How beautiful. There's so much to talk about, Prakash Bhai, but we have another recording of the Maharishi team that's coming. And I'll have to end with a rain check that next time you're in Kana, please, if you can spare some time for us.
I will.
Because this conversation is definitely not complete. But thank you so much for at least taking this time out.
Thanks a lot. I look forward to more interactions and see
Absolutely.
how I can contribute a little bit that I can in my travel with the two great masters. And let me end with a thank you note to you, Rudy Bhai, and see that we'll travel again more into the future.
Absolutely. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of KANHACAST. Please follow and subscribe to KANHACAST on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. Until next time, woof woof.